What Jimmy Fallon giveth, Jimmy Fallon taketh away. Such is life.
I guess so, but did it have to be this way? Good Lord. So, yeah, just to get started, I'm so bummed to be talking to you. Exit interviews are always a bummer, but still fun to talk. I want to know, have you gotten that apology from Jimmy Fallon yet that you talked about in the episode?
It just happened. I think the day is still young, so maybe stay tuned on that.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. And how do you feel today after this episode? Because this is a really unique elimination, one that a kind we've never seen before. How are you
I
feel
mean,
about the fan reactions?
from what I've seen, I'm just grateful I got to be there. I mean, it's a little cliched. I think it's easy to lose perspective on the fact that I got to be on Survivor 50, and not only did I get to be on it, I got to like do so much. It's like there's so many crazy tribal councils, right? I think it's just have a crazy ending almost feels fitting, and whether people loved or hated the twist, is almost ancillary to just the feeling of joy I have for the journey.
Yeah. Do your feelings about the twist differ now than they did when you first found out about it while filming?
I think that no, I still don't love it. I mean, it's the like I still don't love the having to vote for myself and publicly state that I have to vote for myself. I mean, that did put me in a bind. But I can't pretend like I didn't put myself in a bad position. Like that was probably my worst day on the island was on day 18, because that's not only when I got the Jimmy Fallon disadvantage for not doing the puzzle, but also it's when I told Sari the idea of voting out Ozzy. So it was like those two things together made it very difficult for me to survive that. I certainly got to own them.
Yeah. And was there anything that you saw watching the episode last night that helped you understand your elimination more, or were you pretty clear on what happened?
I feel validated that I felt that I pieced together most of what happened. Like
Yeah.
once I got eliminated, I try to piece together like where did it go wrong, and my answer was Sari, and I was like, yeah, what probably happened is that Sari flipped. Oh, it's Ozzy. Of course, I shouldn't have pitched Ozzy to Sari, and then kind of then over time it real yeah, that was exactly what happened, and now I see it, right. So I wasn't terribly surprised. There were of course scenes I didn't see that were funny, but yeah, that all tracked to my experience.
And when you were watching the earlier episodes and you first saw the Suri and Ozzy alliance forming, were you like, okay, this is coming together now? I understand a little more.
Yeah. I mean, certainly. I mean, the thing is, yeah, in the early days, like we were very much aware of it. And I think that like
Sure.
there was a mounting momentum at one point to vote out Ozzy at the very first tribal council. That got thwarted. I
Yeah.
mean, that was not fake. That was very real. I mean, Emily almost personally marshaled the votes herself to get him out, and I was just like, no, this is too soon. This is gonna be a dirty, crazy vote at the first vote. Let's not. This is chaos. Let's not do that. That was my position on it. I mean, but Emily's a delight, by the way. I love that she came out swinging for me in this episode. That's an aside. But like we knew about this relationship, and I remember I made the argument, it's like, look, we know about it, we just can't forget about it. Ironically, I forgot about it, like 15 days later, and like and credit to Sari and Ozzy, and to manage the relationship in such a way that I could forget about it, and I think that I have to give them credit for that for sure.
Yeah. And to speak of Emily a little bit, did you, in tribal council, when she said there comes a point in Survivor where everyone has to betray their alliances, did you sense anything? Did you sense that that was about you at all? Because, of course, I think
No,
she was talking about Ozzy in that moment, but I think it could be read as talking about you as well.
Emily has a fantastic bluffed tribal council speeches that she does. Like she intentionally throws out things to send signals that are wrong at tribal council. So I didn't give anything to that, and she didn't flip on me, right?
Right.
So like that wasn't the intent. I think that I think that she was trying to give a different impression as to what was going on. So that honestly, the chatter at tribal council is something you should almost never take at face value. So it's very hard to read into.
The puzzle itself, the when I was watching the episode, I was like, of course it's edited down. I don't see how much time you actually had to complete it. But do you feel that there was actually enough time to finish the puzzle? Because it seemed really fast to me.
It was fast, but I think it was doable. So my memory of all the events, like this was I just in the middle I panicked a bit, and I was just like, and I kind of got over focused on one part because I thought that something had to go here, but I didn't back out. That was split up into two pieces. Anyway, these details you don't need. But if I hadn't gotten stuck on that and I zoomed out a bit, I think I would have. It only needed like four more pieces or so. And the thing about these puzzles, they become exponentially easier as you get to the end.
Mhm.
because far fewer possibilities to look through. So it was
Right.
doable. I'm sure that someone on the dream team did this in that time frame. I think it was doable. But I have to take ownership as like, you're only as good as your worst day, and that was a bad day.
Yeah, unfortunately so. I want your analysis on the merits of the one in the urn twist. In your mind, are the reward punishment scales balanced with this new twist?
I think this one definitely scales on the harsher side for sure. I mean, like the downside was really, really harsh. Again, I'm not saying it's the only reason I went home. Certainly not.
Mhm.
But the upside in and of itself is complicated, right? It's like the way it plays. It's like an extra vote would be better. An extra vote, because extra vote you could play at any time, and you don't have to bank a vote, and you don't have to you don't have to like write it on an island before you have a chance to talk to everybody, right? So it's a more complicated. In a sense, it's interesting, but it's not very powerful. The only way that it would be like powerful, that actually you could write it before you go to tribal council, would be like, imagine you made the vote like super elaborate looking, and it took forever to write, and then but you when you go up to vote in that actual tribal council, you zip therefore and back, and it'd be impossible for you to have written that time. Therefore, you claim you never wrote that vote. But it's kind of an on the margins thing. So it's not a super powerful advantage, but not every advantage needs to be. But the downside was very bad.
In my opinion, I think it was a little unbalanced there. I think that I agree. Like it was the punishment was too harsh, I think.
I mean, I
Having
think
to
that
vote for yourself is bonkers.
and having to tell everyone about it. I mean, that's the thing.
Yeah.
But I think that, I didn't have to go on that journey. Although it's funny, Joe could have just picked someone. He could have just said, "You go on that journey," right? I volunteered to go rock paper scissors, so I own that. I'm thinking like, what is the worst thing that could happen? And what's the worst thing that can happen on a journey is you lose your vote, and that's not good. But you can also lie about whether or not you lost your vote, right?
Mhm.
So I just didn't expect in sort of the meta of the game that it would go so negative, and I'm like, okay, whew, and I miscalculated.
I mean, who could predict that they would take away your ability to lie in Survivor?
Fair enough. I mean, yeah, but I mean, like, I think that a lot of people would agree with you, and I think that it's just I have to take ownership of the things I can control, right? And I think that
Yeah.
that's where I tend to focus. Those are things you can do better, in the future, in whatever decision making comes down the pipe,
I mean, rock, paper, scissors is a game of chance at the end of the day, but there's a degree of choice there, but also, I don't know. But I wonder if you and Suri have ever commiserated about the fact that you both are in a very small group of people who have been voted out in Survivor in ways that no one else has before.
Well, not over that specific thing, but like I have, like it's I have nothing but respect for Cerie's ability to maneuver through the game. I mean, hopefully she knows the respect I have for that. But at some point, maybe we can just have a drink and say, oh, what it's like to be voted out. I mean, I guess the upside is that I voted at every tribal council I went to. I voted for whoever went home, including me.
Oh, yeah, that's bleak, but it's true. You were never on the wrong side of the vote.
Yeah,
Ugh.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
dang.
It's cold comfort, but it's fine.
Yeah, I was. That's what I was thinking about last night watching the episode. I was like, Suri got sent home with no votes, which is crazy, in her and that previous season. And then you voted for yourself, which is crazy. That's
Yeah,
like
it's crazy.
people have asked to be voted for in the past, but never have they been forced to vote for themselves.
Sure, it's a brand new thing, but I will say, like, it's easy because it just happened for me to focus on this exact twist, right? But like my overall take on just this whole experience, it was just such a positive experience. Yes, there were ups and downs of things like going to all these tribal councils, people you got to vote off, all this crazy stuff, but it was such a joy. It was such a joy. I got to razz Jimmy Fallon on national TV in a much longer 5-minute set that I gave in the voting confessional in the voting booth about Jimmy Fallon. And I went on so at length. Even there was fun to have even then, right? So I do like to focus on the joy of that and all the jokes I got to make.
What were some things you said in that confessional that didn't make the final cut?
Oh, it's like Jimmy, I'm not sure I like this idea. What other ideas have been yours? Were you looking at the Titanic and you're like, you know what? Too many lifeboats. Were you on the Hindenburg and you said, you know what this needs? A smoking section. What other ideas, Jimmy? I think you don't need any more ideas. I think you can have a seat and let's let us play something like that. But anyway,
Yeah.
but Jimmy Fallon never claimed to be a game designer, so I don't blame him too harshly.
Yeah, yeah. I wish we could have seen some of those jokes. That would have been great TV. Is there anything else that happened in this episode or previous ones that didn't make the cut that you really wish had?
Oh my goodness, when Rick and I were planning that fake idol, okay, there was so much shenanigans that went into that, including like setting up the like we had this whole Rick routine of like Rick's like if I sit here, you do this. If I It was this whole planning session that we had, and on top of that, he wanted to have a really realistic looking fake idol. Now I had the wrapping, but I swear I lost the special twine that's of the right diameter that looks like an idol find, and he wanted that. And understandably, I was like, where did they go? I don't know where. It must be along this path. And we all went looking up and down the path. Like, where is this twine? And sure enough, we eventually find what we think is the twine. Like miraculously on the path. That's great. And there's something in my brain that must like misfire when it has I dropped it again. I dropped it again. We like and Rick was so patient with me. He's probably so frustrated because look, he's the artist. He needs the tools and paintbrushes that he needs to make his fake idols. In this case, the right diameter twine. And I dropped it twice, and yet we somehow made it work. But I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I dropped the twine again.
And I mean, the fake idol still worked anyway. So, what did you think in the moment? We saw like a small cut to you when Devins was doing his big fake idol performance in Tribal the last episode. But what were you thinking and feeling? Was it like, did you think it was a hit?
I thought he executed on it beautifully, right? And and the whole idea was his. I was glad I got to play a supporting role in that awesome plan. I think that the challenge was like strategically, we knew it put us in a dicey situation for the next vote, right? But I think performatively, why he dialed in every element. Like, why isn't he playing at this vote? Oh, why didn't he get it before? He had all the answers to these questions, right? And why can't you show it to us? It's like, I'm not letting you know what the idols look like this season, right? Like good is well thought through. The guy knows how to put on the right kind of show at the right time. That's one of his many skills. Thank you, Captain Kirk.
Yeah, yeah, it really was. I mean, to quote Rizzo, it was cinema. It was so electric.
Oh yeah.
But did you know heading into that tribal that he was going to play it, or was it a surprise?
I did not know. It was a surprise. I thought we had the votes, but people were already getting up and talking, and like there's a little live tribal stuff going on right beforehand. So I could understand why he thought things were going sideways, right? So he pulled it out, and it was his butt on the line. So I can't, and I wasn't so confident I could say 100% no, Ricky, don't do it. So I understand why he did, but I didn't anticipate he would.
Yeah, and then heading into your final tribal council for this episode, did you feel like your fate was sealed? I admit I was a little surprised by how the votes got split because it did seem like, I mean, with you having a vote for yourself, that people would go that way.
It was a proper blindside. Like people put on a front that like the Ozzy vote was going through because Emily was trying to whip this Ozzy vote together, which I appreciated. She was in my corner. She could have easily pitched me under the bus, but she didn't. She tried to get Ozzy out. So I thought that was the plan. I felt there were signs I shouldn't have ignored that things were going sideways, but to me, the whole vote was weird already because, like, who cares what they have to say to me? Because I'm voting for myself. There's literally nothing I can do at tribal council. I'm not important. But I really should have taken those signs more seriously that this is not going to work as well as I thought.
What were those signs?
Sometimes you just ask follow-up questions of people of the plan, and they're really vague or they don't know the answer to follow-up questions. And so like, and also when I handed like Jonathan my shot in the dark, after he like handed it to him, he's like, oh, thanks, Christian, I trust you again. And I didn't buy that he trusted me again. So I made like some kind of face just like to my, like it's just sort of like, oh gosh, we'll see how this goes. And Tiffany saw it, me make this face. It's like, Christian, what is that face that you made just now? I'm like, honestly, I just make faces. I just apparently, and she's like, I think she interrogated me about this face I was making. And I was like, is she worried that Jonathan gave away the plan to me? Right. Is probably what she is thinking. And that was, all like little signs like that. If I added them up, it was like, this is not good. And I had to come up with some other kind of fake plan, like pretending that Jimmy Fallon also gave me an idol in addition to voting for myself as some kind of funny Faustian bargain,
So you considered something like that?
Not at the time, no. But if I knew if I was on the hot seat, I would have to come up with something fast.
In hindsight, do you think that Mike and Angelina might have been allies to you later in the game? Like, how do you feel about how your fellow David versus Goliath now?
I mean, I don't think that they were targeting me at the point where I targeted them. That was not the point. The point was I would be a target at the merge if both were in tow. And that's why originally I was thinking like, let's do Angelina. And then Mike really stood up for Angelina. It's like, no, like, and tried to pitch Emily in a way that I ultimately kind of was real. I ultimately realized was not ultimately honest. Like he's trying to convince me. Like, there's no reason. Like, yeah, maybe I can't trust Emily at the final four, but like, this is not now, right? Why not Stephanie? Why not somebody else? So I started to. So like, that's why ultimately pinned it over to Mike because it would separate Angelina and Ozzy. But like, the thing is, I would have been the target at the vote. Like, as much as Mike is a very good player, if I'm at a vote with 14 people and people say Christian is one of the DVG3, the DVG3 are very tight. He's the one you want to get rid of. Can Mike turn all those votes? I don't think so. So I needed to diffuse the target. I mean, and was Angelina looking to go deep with me in the game? I'm not confident in that. I think that maybe you can go to things that she said in the past as to whether or not you would believe that or not. But I think honestly I made the right choice. Even Emily was loyal to me all the way down to the end for me. You know, there's nothing I regret about that choice other than the fact that it had to hurt some people's feelings. I didn't like that.
Well, it's the game of Survivor. It's tough sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Christian, that's all my time. Thank you so much. Congrats on the season. You really were so much fun to watch, and I hope that you come back to the show one day.
Thank you, Kelly.